Emma Leni Benye Onile Loko. Esiku Dede Asikoyi. Hello everyone, it's Adironke again. I hope your day is going well. Today I'd like to provide another canto translation, and this one is for Oggun, and it's for a song titled Mariwo. Ye ye ye. That is how it's said in Cuba. Mariwo ye ye ye. I suppose that would be a good title for. I don't know what the official title is. Mariwo ye ye ye. Mariwo ye ye ye. Oggun alawede.
Que mi mopo, Oggun kwe mi mopo, macho alawede oke. Mariwo ye ye ye, Mariwo ye ye ye, Oggun acho alawede oke. Mariwo ye ye ye, Mariwo ye ye ye, Oggun alawede. Que mi mopo, Oggun kwe mi mopo, Oggun acho alawede oke.
So that's the gist of the song. I think that is Abilono's rendition. I think they're called Abilona, but I think it's Abilono. That is the correct pronunciation. Let's listen to Baba Lazaro Ross. Let's listen to his version of the song, and then we can examine it word for word and translate.
Oggun susulona alaheriwo. Mariwo ye ye ye, Mariwo ye ye ye, Oggun acho alagwede oke. Kwe ni mobo, Oggun kwe ni mobo, Oggun acho alagwede oke. Oyoyo unchowo Oyoyo unchowo itacho Oggun alagwede oke. Kweni mobo, Oggun kweni mobo, Oggun acho alagwede oke. Oggun arere, Oggun susu lona, Oggun vinamalu, oke alagwede, alaheri owo. Oggun kobo, Oggun shibiriki, Oggun kudakwe, oke alagwede. Mariwo ye ye ye, Mariwo ye ye ye, Oggun acho alagwede. Okay. When ni mobo, Oggun acho alagwede okay.
My purpose of making this video is just to convert it to its original form, to Yoruba, because there have been changes, Spanish influence changes occurred after the enslavement, so it's not quite like what it should sound like. So while honoring the original, my intention is just to convert it to its original form and also tell you what it means essentially. In this video I've explained what Oggun is, so I won't be repeating a lot of the things that I said in this video. If you want to know what the word Oggun means in and of itself, please don't hesitate to check it out. The first thing that you will notice is Mariwo. Mariwo is very important to Yoruba spirituality as well. I'll explain it when I get there, but just a few terms to know and understand before we even examine the lyrics and translate. Igi okpe is palm tree. Igi okpe. You can also say igi okpe. So there is okpe, there is okpe. They are just dialectically different. The common version is okpe, but if you hear okpe, it's also right for palm tree. Then palm leaves or palm fronds, more officially, would be, especially when they're still attached to their stems like that, like this. Imope is what it is called. Imo. It's different from imo, which is knowledge. Re do do re imope. Imope, palm fronds. Mariwo would be the palm frond fibers. I had a video open at some point showing how they get the Mariwo. I'll try to find it so that you can see. Typically, because it's gotten from the raffia palm tree, I'll show you a picture of raffia palm tree, because they are closer to the ground anyway, they are shorter. So if you were going to get the Mariwo from the higher palm trees, you would have to climb. But with the raffia palm trees that are short and stout and are typically not too tall, you can get Mariwo easily. That's why it's typically the raffia palm frond fibers, specifically the raffia palm, but it can be any palm, the fibers, and they typically look like this. I'll try to find the video and I'll show you. So this is what the process is. It's typically the raffia palm because they are not as tall. They're closer to the ground. You just have to bend the fronds. This is one of the many methods of getting Mariwo. So they just remove the fibers like that. And what you have on the ground over there is the Mariwo. So that's basically it. The palm trees tend to look like this. They're not like the taller ones that you get the palm wine from. So raffia palm frond fibers are Mariwo. Mariwo. And one fun fact about the raffia palm: it's one of the trees with the biggest leaves. So this specific palm tree, sporting the world's largest leaves belonging to the raffia genus, with the crown going to Raffia regalis, which is native to some African countries like Nigeria. Let's examine the lyrics. In its original form, it is Mariwo ye ye ye, Mariwo ye ye ye. As it progressed, and because of music, this yeah 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 would have become yeah yeah yeah. It's not uncommon for people to change the tones of words for music's sake. So it's not anything out of the ordinary. It's done back home. It's done in Nigeria too. So Mariwo yeah yeah yeah, but then the musical form of yeah 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 would then be yeah yeah yeah. You know, Mariwo yeah 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 Oggun, aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Mariwo yeah yeah yeah, Mariwo yeah 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 Oggun, aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Ẹni mo bọ́ ni mo bọ́, ẹni mo bọ́ ni mo bọ́, ẹni mo bọ́ ni mo bọ́ Ògún, aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Ẹni mo bọ́ ni mo bọ́, ẹni mo bọ́ ni mo bọ́ Ògún, aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. The third line is òjòjò ń ṣowú o, òjòjò ń ṣowú. The Cuban version is oyoyo ń ṣowó, oyoyo ń ṣowó. Its original form is òjòjò ń ṣowú o, òjòjò ń ṣowú. In Baba Lazarus version, he says this line that I've not heard in the, I mean, we heard it together. I didn't hear in the Abilono version, which is Tita the way he said it was Tita ṣ'Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè, but it's Tita ṣ'Ògún, Tita ṣ'Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. So òjòjò ń ṣowú o, òjòjò ń ṣowú, títà yìí ṣ'Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Òjòjò ń ṣowú. Òjòjò ń ṣowú o. Títà yìí ṣ'Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. And then in the Abilona version, I don't know if in the version that I heard, these were the same singers, but it's the group. They don't say the títà yìí ṣ'Ògún line, so they just say òjòjò ní, and they say it differently. The way Baba says it, it sounds like òjòjò, but they say òjòjò ní, which makes sense regardless of the form that you put it in, and I'll explain when I get there. Òjòjò ní ṣowú o. Òjòjò ní ṣowú. Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. And the last line would be òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún o. Òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún. Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún o. Òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún. Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. This means ọ̀rọ̀ inú orin, the words in the song. So the lyrics, if just in case you're wondering what this is, ọ̀rọ̀ inú orin. Ọ̀rọ̀ inú orin. The words in the song, the lyrics. Notice how I wrote ṣ'Ògún like this with the apostrophe, because typically when we combine two words or three or more, we don't use apostrophes. We just make them into one. But with names, one can't really do that. So per the current writing standard, and I've sort of talked about the Yoruba letter diacritics in writing and technology issue briefly in this video, which I encourage you to check out. I'm not writing it like this because Oggun is the name of a person, so I'm doing this, if that makes sense. Just so you know. For people's names, it's just best to use the apostrophe and write the name. So like this. Òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún. Òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún. Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Let's look at it more critically. What does it mean? What does it mean? This would be the first part of the song. Mariwo ye ye ye. Mariwo ye ye ye. Mariwo ye 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 Ògún. Aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. I've mentioned that Mariwo is palm frond fibers. Ye is to befit or suit or honor. To befit, to suit, to honor. So this one is from an incantation. This line is from it's like the shorter version of an incantation, and the incantation is ye 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 ni Mariwo ye mole. Ye 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 ni Mariwo ye mole. So in some dialects they say imale, irumale. In the Oyo dialect and the general ones, they say imale, irumale, imale, irumale, imale, irumale. Imale is just one imale. Irumale is collective. It's like the plural version of imale. Ye ye ye. Let me tell you what the incantation is first. I mean, actually make a video on it, but let me just say what it is briefly. Ye 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 ni Mariwo ye mole. Befit, befit, befit. And ye ye ye. Notice that it's 3 times. We typically, 3 is a powerful number in the Yoruba culture. If I say aku ojo meta, ọkùnrin meta, àrò meta, àjẹ́ meta. Whenever I say something 3 times, or I ascribe 3 to something, to describe something, 3 forms of that thing, I'm emphasizing that. If I send 3 of the same things to you, I'm emphasizing that, putting emphasis on that thing. Don't forget. Emphasis. So it's to emphasize and to also describe as powerful, powerfully. So So befit, befit, befit. So it befit very well, so to say, or very well, you know, depending on the sentence structure. Befit, befit, befit. You know, so suggest like, oh, very well, powerfully well. Ni is or is how. It can be is what or is when, or it just, I put how in bracket because it can be is when, it can be is, but it just introduces something, is something, you know. So is or is how or is when something. That is what it is. And then Mariwo, raffia palm front fibers. Whenever is in a sentence, it suggests that it's in a present tense or a continuous tense. So it's the present tense or continuous tense indicator. It's something that is happening or it's something that happens. Ye is befit. Imale, the initial set of Òrìṣà with deep knowledge and control of elements of the earth. So Ṣàngó is an Imale, Ọ̀ṣun is an Imale. These are the initial ancestors. Ṣàngó Imale ni, Ọ̀ṣun Imale ni, Ọbàtálá Imale ni, Yemọja náà Imale ni. You know, Imale, Olókun Imale ni, Imale. The initial set of beings that were sent to, and their earliest ancestors, to not only develop this sphere for even more human life, but discover things here, establish things here. So except you know that perhaps you might be a direct incarnation of Ṣàngó, a direct incarnation of Ọ̀ṣun, you won't necessarily refer to yourself as Imale. You will call yourself an Òrìṣà if you feel that you've been specially selected to do something on this planet. You'll call yourself an Òrìṣà. But if you're pretty sure, like there was a human incarnation of Ọ̀ṣun, for instance, that came, another incarnation of her, you know, an Òrìṣà. I don't know if she knew that she was an Imale, that she was a direct incarnation of the initial being, but they are just like the Òrìṣà of the Òrìṣà, so to say. The initial set that have, and they understand and have control, or control almost sounds like a bad word, right? Like the way that it is being used, but they have a deep knowledge, deep ability to communicate and work with the elements, water, air, earth, you know, the elements. And this was what they were wearing, which is where the Mariwo comes into play. This was what they were wearing. Sorry, I superimposed this on the image, but if I'm imagining Ọ̀ṣun as an Imale on this planet, this is what I'll imagine her looking like without the the lingerie, without this that I superimposed. This is what I'll imagine her wearing, because this was what they were wearing. So if you're ever wondering what was the initial clothing of the Yoruba people, it was Mariwo. That was what they were stringing together. So if I'm imagining what Ọ̀ṣun was, I'm imagining something like this. Something like this was how they were covering their, not for the reasons that the Bible relates to, not for or they were ashamed of their nakedness, they had sinned against God, and not all that. This one was because it was sort of a thing of beauty, you know. It would cover their bodies, provide some, especially from the sun and all that. But it was also quite befitting, because if you're walking in the hair, you know, it would the breeze would blow on it and it would just blow like that. So it was sort of like a thing of the, and Oshun was able to make all kinds of clothing out of it. Very talented weaver. So I think, and the second incarnation of Oshun was also friends with Iyamako, but at the time we were already wearing like fabrics. So this was what they were wearing. That was the initial clothing, and it was just to beautify the body, not because they were running away from their sins or what is in the Bible or in other spiritual texts. So initial clothing. So what this means essentially is befit, or very well, is how palm frond fibers befit the Imole. It fits them, it looks good on them. Basically, it's just an incantation for, it's a saying, but it's also incantatory. So if you want to say, okay, as an incantation, very well is how this position will befit you. You know, you will not be embarrassed at some point on the journey while holding this position or holding this title. You will always have honor. It will always befit you. People will never feel like that you don't deserve to be here, you don't deserve to hold that title. You can say this incantation before a prayer to somebody. Ni Mariwo yemale ayo. You know, it will befit you. You will be honored. You know. So very well is how Mariwo befits the Imole. So that is where Mariwo ye. Mariwo ye. Mariwo ye Oggun. Aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ. Okay, let's see what aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ. I hope you understand this part. Befit very well is how the raffia palm fibers befit the Imole. It's what they were wearing, and they would make different types of clothing with it, and it just looked good in them. And Oshun would make all kinds of woven things on it, and they were able to weave baskets out of it as well. And their initial houses, places of habitation, they were able to weave furniture out of that is why the palm tree would always be important to us. You know, that is why it will always be important to us. Aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Aṣọ is cloth or garment. Aṣọ is cloth or garment. Alágbẹ̀dẹ is blacksmith. So in Cuba they say alawede. Sometimes they say they sometimes write it as ALAGUEDE, sometimes ALAWEDE, but this is the correct pronunciation and current spelling. Alágbẹ̀dẹ. The reason why I said the current spelling is I've explained in my video on writing and technology, you know, so we don't know what is going to be in the next 5,000 years. So alágbẹ̀dẹ, blacksmith, and then okay is up or high or top or upstairs or mountain or hill. What it just suggests is a higher ground. So the garment of the eye blacksmith. The garment of the eye blacksmith. The emphasis here is not so much on Oggun being a blacksmith, but what him being a blacksmith suggests. So it reminds you that he is powerful. The yeah 3 times. The powerful creator or inventor who is victorious or triumphant. That is what that high blacksmith is. Alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè, the eye blacksmith, the creative, the powerful creative and inventor who is victorious or triumphant and successful, so to say. And the rationale is that since Oggun is able to bend iron, Oggun is able to bend tough situations, disciplined, loyal, diligent, extremely diligent. I was watching a little clip of blacksmiths working, and there's a lot of hard work. I can't imagine combining that with being a farmer, being a warrior, when the need arose, being a this, being a that for the Imale. It's such a gifted energy. So discipline, loyalty, diligence, kindness. These are some of the attributes that you can ascribe to Oggun, and it's also in my video on Oggun. Oggun can bend iron. Oggun can definitely bend tough situations. Oggun is triumphant over complex situations. So the translation of the first part of the song is palm fronds or palm fibers, palm front fibers, palm fibers, befit. This suggests that it befits him very well, powerfully well. Palm front fibers befit Oggun, the clothes of the eye blacksmith, the clothes of the Imale. Palm fibers, that was what they were wearing back then. That's the initial clothing. That was what they were wearing, and it would look good on them. And that is why a lot of millenniums afterwards, we're still putting Mariwo near Ojuba Oggun in their places of honor, the sites where we honor them, on our designated spots where we honor them. We still put those Mariwo there to honor them and what they used the Mariwo from, and what they used the Mariwo for back then, and even just how important it is still to us now, and how it was to them then. They were wearing it. My mind is thinking that even the Mariwo itself, I've told you that every part of the palm tree is useful, and that is why it's really fertile, and that is why we honor it a lot. It is very likely that them wearing it, in fact, even had like a spiritual thing to it. I would have to ask an elder, I would have to ask some questions. It may even be, I don't expect that everybody would know, but it may even have like a spiritual purpose that it serves. Because now my mind is going into other faiths, like even Christianity, and the people laying out palm fronds for Jesus to ride over and all that. So at the end of the day, Jesus was an Òrìṣà as well, like not my Òrìṣà personally, as I recognize what he was able to achieve, you can't deny that. So certain things may be cultural, and I don't know what palm front fibers signify to the Israelites. I don't know what it means culturally, if it has anything to do with like triumph or victory or anything like that. I would have to ask more questions regarding what it means per the Yoruba mindset, like, or at least what it meant to the Imale. If anybody knows, or if anybody can check, maybe in correspondence with the Oduifa. I don't know if the Oduifa mentions the significance of the Mariwo. But there's always more to everything, right? There's always more to the more, So palm fibers befit. Palm fibers befit Oggun, because they are the clothes of the eye blacksmith. The second part of the song is next, and it is Eni mo bo ni mo bo, Eni mo bo ni mo bo Oggun, aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Eni mo bo. Eni is the one, can be the person, the one. Mo is I. You can say Eni ti mo as well, the person that I. but you can just say, or the one that I, but you can just say, and that was how it was in the song as well. The one I, mo, I, the one I, anymore, then bo is exalt or deeply honor or worship. So anymore bo. Ni says ni. Ni says mo, I am. I'm inserting am here because that's what makes sense. Because the sentence structure is not the exact same, sometimes you find that you insert certain things. If you say I free, bo is free. If you say I free, then it won't sound like proper grammar. So I am free. Mo bo, bo is free. Bo can be to slip away, slip off, be free. You know, it just suggests that you're no longer under the grasp of somebody or something. So bo suggests free. Synonyms of ni are we or wikwe and ye. So if I say any mobo ni mobo, that's correct. If I say any mobo we mobo, or any mobo wikwe mobo, that's correct. If I say any, in my dialect, we say any mobo ye mobo. I'm from Igbajo in Osun State. If you say any mobo ye mobo, it's also correct. So the one I exalt says I am free. Any mobo ni mobo. You would notice that these are not the same. This is any mobo. The one I exalt, ni mobo, bo is higher. So this one is re, bo, exalts, bo. This is bo, me, free, bo. So they are not, they are different. But when you say it together, any mobo ni mobo, you think they are the same. Any mobo ni mobo, because ni comes right after it. So it's sort of any mobo ni, any mobo, any mobo. In the Lukumí version anyway, it almost sounds like the other. It was any mobo, ni mobo, any mobo. Yeah, actually, it sounds like it sounds like they are the same, but they are not. It's just the musical theme that is influencing it. Any mobo, ni mobo, any mobo. Yeah, okay, I see. It's almost even when you're speaking, if you're not paying attention, you almost think it's me. Any mobo, ni mobo. See why it sounds so similar. So the one I exalt, any mobo ni mobo, any mobo ni mobo, Oggun aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Maybe I'll sing it. I'll try to sing it in its Yorùbá form. The one I exalt says I am free. The one I exalt says I am free. Oggun, the clothes of the eye blacksmith. The one I exalt says I am free. So Oggun says I am free. Oggun says I am free. And then aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè, the clothes of the eye blacksmith. The third part is Ojojo Onshowu. My initial impression was that it was the incantation Ojojo Onshowu kó má lè nájà. Ojojo Onshowu kó má lè nájà. So what that means is Ojojo is ailment, not a sickness that necessarily puts you on a sick bed per se, not an illness that puts you on a sick bed. It's more of like a headache, a cold, a fever, you know, in that category, not the ones that have you like, the ones that are semi-terminal, you know, just ailment, ojojo. It's not as intense as àìsàn, which is like full-blown sickness. And then negates when it's in a sentence. So it's not. So it's do not, does not. Depending on the context, you know, in this context it's does not. But what it does, it just negates a sentence. So it's not at its basic core, but don't shy away from putting whatever works in the sentence. So does not is a present or continuous tense indicator indicates that something is happening or it happens. Ṣ'Ògún, I was going to say ṣ'Ògún, which is what the song is, but this was my initial impression. Ṣ'Ògún, ṣe is do or happen to or affect. Owó is money. Ko is ki-o. Ki is so much so that. O is it. Ma is, again, it's negate, so it can be cannot, it can be do not, it can be will not, depending on the context. Le is able to or be able to. Naja is a combination of two words, na and oja. Na is spend or bargain or visit. But it has to be a market if you're going to use it to be visit. So oja has to come. Most of the time, it has to be a market or like a trading spot. It can't really be. Just know that transactions are involved when it's visit. Oja is market. So this is what it means when you put these words together. An ailment does not affect money so much so that it will not be able to visit the market. It's an incantation. It's a common saying, but it's also an incantation. An ailment does not affect money so much so that it will not be able to visit the market. What that means is recession. What does it mean when you say an ailment has affected money? Recession. So recession doesn't affect money so much so that it will not be spent. There's no recession. From the Great Depression to the anything, money will always be spent. It will always be in circulation. You can't say, oh, there's a recession, money's here, nobody spend money, nobody buy anything, or nobody exchange anything. And money back then was anything. So let's say at the time, cowrie shells were being used as a form of exchange, and cowrie shells were not that many in circulation anymore. It was scarce. That still won't prevent cowrie shells from being spent. Although there's a limited quantity of a thing, it doesn't stop it from being spent. So that is what that is. But that's not what it is. That's not what it is. It's owu. It's because of the way that it was sung when I first heard it that I thought it was probably ojojo nshowo. But it just didn't sit right with my spirit when I looked at it even further. Like, am I sure that's what is being said here? So that's not what it is. Instead, it is this. Ojojo nshowo. Ojojo nshowo. Which is quite different. Owu is different from owo. Ojojo nshowo. Ojojo nshowo. Ojojo nshowo. Tita yi ṣ'Ògún. Tita is also ita, and I'll explain soon. It's the same thing when it's used in relation to viruses and diseases, but some people don't include the T in the tita. They just say ita. Well, but I'll explain soon. Alagbede, okay. So let's see what these words are. Ojojo is helmet. Ojojo. O is not. It negates in a sentence. So it can be do not, it can be does not, it can be just not, but here I think it is does not, because helmet. If it was helmet, then it would be do not. Is one of the remnants of our nasal language. So when we first began to communicate, ancestry speaking, it was gestures and certain sounds, and then more nasal sounds before, and nasal and non-nasal anyway, before we started to use verbs. And then we will slap prefixes to those verbs and get nouns. So that's is one of the remnants of those nasal. When you say it suggests that something is happening or it happens. It's as old as can be. It has existed even before we had like verbs, and then we made them nouns and everything. So happening or happens is what it indicates. Present or continuous tense indicator. Ṣ'Ògún. Ṣ'Ògún is two words combined. Ṣe and Ògún. Ṣe and Ògún. Ṣe is to do or happen to or affect. Ògún is the anvil. So there's Ògún and there's Òmògún, and I'll show you soon. O is a way of emphasizing something, sort of our own exclamation word. Our exclamation word. So when you have this in a sentence, typically it's not necessary to include an exclamation mark. If this isn't, because it's an exclamation word in and of itself, it's emphatic. Òjòjò ń ṣòwú. Òjòjò ń ṣòwú. This is what Òwú is. Òwú is the anvil. So the original name for the hammer, now we just say hammer. A lot of people just say hammer. Bami gba hammer wa. But it is Òmògún. Òmògún hammer. Òmògún. And then the anvil that it is beaten on. What a blacksmith will do, the anvil that it is beaten on is called Òwú. So this is the mother, this is the child. Back in the day, it wasn't as fanciful as this. It was just like an iron board, you know, and it would have different shapes, so you can carve different things. But this one seems to be more, I'm sure we already have ones that are even much better than this, you know, so, but this is what it is. So Òwú, this just anvil, or something anvil, like something that you can, that a blacksmith can work on, sort of like the workspace for the blacksmith. So again, this is what they would look like at work. This is the Òmògún, this is the Òwú, you know. So what this means, Òjòjò ń ṣòwú, is ailment does not, does, because is there, continuous tense indicator, happen to or affect or do the anvil, with emphasis. Ailments do not affect the anvil. Ailments do not affect the anvil. What were they saying when they said Òjòjò ń ṣòwú? When you beat the anvil several times, it is not weakened. It is not, the spirit is not down. It's still as strong as ever. You know, it's able to do that. It's capable of taking several hits without being shattered or broken or weakened. I don't know, because I'm thinking back in the day when children were encouraged to do their parents' professions, it was almost expected, even at some point, that if your father is a farmer, you know, you would want to be a farmer, or they would want you to, so that you can take over the family responsibilities mainly, you know. So back in the day, I'm sure that a lot of fathers, or it was mainly fathers doing the work of blacksmiths back in the day, but I'm sure that a lot of sons or daughters possibly would have inherited their parents' anvil, just because it's designed to just last long, no matter how much it is beaten, hammered down, pressed down, it is fine. So that is what that is. It's not Òjòjò ń ṣòwú, because that would suggest a recession, an economic recession and that it is fine, money is fine even if a recession exists. But I don't think that was what they were going for. When I listened properly over and over again, you know, it felt very much like Owu to me, especially since you're saying Oggun the blacksmith, Oggun alagbede, okay. So it's Owu, that's what that is. Ojojo n showu, Ojojo n showu, but when it is sung, Ojojo n showo, Ojojo n showo, Ojojo n showo, Ojojo n showo is what it is. Tita is ṣ'Ògún, Tita is ṣ'Ògún, Tita is ṣ'Ògún. Tita is mainly used for measles now. Measles. And measles has other names. Kitipi and Eyi. Domiri. I was trying to get the pronunciation right. I was almost saying Eyi. 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 This one is less common. This one is less common. Kitipi, Eyi, Tita. But the word Tita is not exclusive to measles, and I'll explain soon. Does not. Has synonyms. Does not. Ṣ'Ògún. Ṣ'Ògún. She is do or affect or happen to. Oggun is Oggun. So measles here is being used as a metaphor for viruses and diseases. There's nothing about it that makes it peculiar to measles. Now, centuries, several decades and centuries after, people just like to keep Tita exclusive to measles. But there's nothing about the word in and of itself that describes measles. So metaphor for viruses and diseases, and I'll show you soon, does not affect Oggun. Measles does not affect Oggun, but viruses and diseases do not affect Oggun, is what this is. Let's look at the synonyms for You can say ki, and you can say okin. These are correct synonyms for does not or do not. So if you say you're right. If you say ki, you're right. If you say okin, you're right. But you sort of want to stick to the musical pattern. So just for future reference, know that ki and okin are synonyms for Speaking of Tita and the fact that it's not exclusive to measles, Tita is a combination of two words, ita. Ita. T is the thing of, it's possessive of the thing can be left out in certain contexts, but it just fits here. So the thing of, or quite simply of, Ita is outside, more specifically, but you can say the outdoors, the external, the external of something, but most commonly outside. So the thing of outside is what Tita is. So with this name, we don't try to even dignify measles and measles-like diseases. We just say the thing of outside. It doesn't matter what they are. We don't care. They're not supposed to be in the house in the first place. They're not supposed to be affecting people in the first place. So Tita, the thing of outside, the thing that doesn't belong in the home, basically. So nothing about this suggests that it's exclusive to measles. Other measles, like, I'm sure even what's closest to measles? I think chickenpox, but I'm not sure. If you call that Tita as well, you're right. It's just like Ekun, the thing that growls. The thing that growls, Ekun. Nothing about that makes it exclusive to leopards. You know, so if you say tiger is ekun, you're correct. If you say ekun, the thing that growls, so tiger, leopard, what other? I suppose a panther would also be in the same category as leopard, you know, but nothing. Actually, I think panther is a generic name for all of them, and the tiger and the leopard. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the biological classification is, but yeah, a panther, black panther, can be a leopard or a no. There's this stoutish animal, a jaguar. Yeah, so a jaguar, a tiger, a leopard. You know, they're all in the same category of ekun. You know, so same as this. So here, I strongly believe that tita has been used as not just a metaphor for diseases and viruses, but a clear indicator, actually, because nothing about it, even if what they meant was measles, I don't think it's measles per se that they were saying. I think it's just diseases and viruses in general. That would just have been used as a metaphor. But again, the thing that does not belong in the home does not affect Oggun. So let's see what they all mean. Ojojo nshowu, ojojo nshowu, tita ṣ'Ògún, alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Ailments do not happen to the anvil. Ailments do not happen to the anvil, do not affect the anvil. The anvil is not weakened, you know. Diseases do not affect Oggun, the eye blacksmith. Ojojo nshowu, tita ṣ'Ògún. This is Baba Lazaro's version. Ailments do not happen to the anvil. Ailments do not happen to the anvil. Diseases do not affect Oggun. Oggun is not affected by the things that would typically affect us, you know, the eye blacksmith. There's an Oduifa that details one time that Oggun was ill, and I think the Mariwo had something to do with his healing. I don't know if it is Ogbe Sa or Ogbe D or Ogbe. I don't know. I'm not sure. My Ifa is still very weak. I'm only just learning. But I'm actually going to get something soon that would be a good point of reference in print. So, but that will be soon. I'll announce it when I get it. Ailments do not happen to the anvil. Ailments do not happen to the anvil. Diseases do not happen to Oggun, the eye blacksmith. And then this is Abilono's version. Ojojo ni ṣ'òwú. Ojojo ni ṣ'òwú. Ojojo ni ṣ'òwú. Oggun, alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. This part gives it even more depth. You know, if you say it this way, because it's a bit more personal to me than ojojo does not happen. This one is will not happen to. So it gives it a personal effect to me. And I'll show you why I think so. Ojojo, ailment, ojojo, o. Here, o is just not. Here is just not. The which suggests does not, you know, that influences it to be does not or do not is not there. So it's just not here. You know, in another context you can put whatever is fitting, but here is just not. Ni is like will. Oni will not. You know, it's like will in this context, but it would be will when it comes after o. So when it comes after o, it's for sure oni. If it is o, Actually, if it is o, which it aligns with mi, this one aligns with do, o. If it were to be mi, oni, then it would make this completely different. It would be he or she said. This one would not be say or said. But here, because it is o, it is will. That's what it suggests. Will. Ojojo oni, will not. She, owu, she, do, happen to, effect. Owu is the anvil. O is the emphasis. Ojojo ni showu. Ojojo ni showu. Ailment will not affect the anvil. Ailment will not affect the anvil. The anvil here is very much sounding like a metaphor for the self. Because, they couldn't have been speaking about some anvil that they brought from Nigeria or Benin, probably Badagry, Lagos, probably. So they couldn't have been talking about, because they were not taken out with anything. So I very much strongly believe that it's a metaphor for their own self, for their own minds and self, and probably even bodies. That it's almost like they are using themselves as metaphors for just how much they've been beaten down. Probably even literally, but most likely spirits even broken down. So ailment will not, I think this is what gives it more depth to me. That was why I said it's just a bit even deeper than it does not happen to. I mean, that one is deep as well, but this one is more like an active user of one's ashe, to say will not happen to me. I would not be weak or weary, basically. So let's see what these words all mean. Ojojo ni showu. Ojojo ni showu Oggun. Alagbede oke. Ailment will not happen to the anvil. Ailment will not happen to the anvil. Oggun, the eye blacksmith. So it's very much giving an emphatic declaration for the self, an active use of the ashe to say, I will not be broken down. The circumstances will not break me down. Ailments physically, but also ailments of the mind too. Not just that they were having fevers and they were having colds. I think it even goes beyond that. It's just used as a metaphor for what they were going through, which must have very much felt like ailments to the spirit, soul, and body. Ailment will not happen to the anvil. Ailment will not happen to the anvil, Oggun, the eye blacksmith. This is Abilona's version. And then the last part, which will be the part 4, is Ojojo ni ṣ'Ògún o. Ojojo ni ṣ'Ògún. Oggun alagbede oke. Ojojo ni ṣ'Ògún. Ojojo ni ṣ'Ògún. Oggun alagbede oke. Ojojo, ailment or ailments in general. O, not. Ni, oni, oni. This would be will. Will. Ṣ'Ògún, she, do, happen to, affect, Oggun. Ojojo ni ṣ'Ògún. Ailment will not happen to Oggun. Ailment will not happen to Oggun, the eye blacksmith. So you have to look at this metaphorically again. Like, why are they saying ailment will not happen to Oggun? I mean, duh. It's not going to have a fever or a cold, obviously. I mean, the human incarnation of Oggun as an Imole, when he first came to this fair, has long passed, before then. That was between the 1500s to the 1900s was when a lot of these activities were happening. Forceful seizure of people and enslavement and all that. But Oggun he had already been deified long before then, millenniums before then, actually. So you might be thinking, are they praying for Oggun, or like what are they doing? But you have to look at it metaphorically, and when you do, what you will get is this: that they trust in Oggun's health and strength. So it's almost like saying, I know you will not be weary, I know you will not be ill. Sort of like, you will not be weary, you will not be ill, you will not be weak. Sort of like a metaphorical way of, or not even necessarily metaphor. Well, you could say it is somewhat metaphorical. I know that you are strong enough and well enough to make that happen, because you've told me that I'm free. The one that I honor, that I deeply honor, that I worship, that I exalt, says I am free. So I know that, and I know that you will not be weary or be weak or be ill. I know that you can. I trust in what you said, basically. I trust in your health and in your strength. So these are the words again, so that we can, I suppose, put them all together now that we know what they mean. Mariwo ye ye ye, but in the musical form, you'd say Mariwo ye ye ye, Mariwo ye ye ye, but literally it's Mariwo ye ye ye, Mariwo ye 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 Ògún, aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè, ẹni mo bọ́ ní mo bọ́, 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 ẹni mo bọ́ ní mo bọ́. This and this are not the same. Ẹni mo bọ́ ní mo bọ́, ẹni mo bọ́ ní mo bọ́ Ògún, aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè, òjòjò ń ṣowú, òjòjò ń ṣowú, òjòjò ń ṣowú o, òjòjò ń ṣowú, títa ṣ'Ògún, alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. This one is more emphatic, more for the self, more, forwarded to the self, so to say. Òjòjò ní ṣowú, òjòjò ní ṣowú o, òjòjò ní ṣowú Ògún, alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún o, òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún o, òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún, Ògún alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Màrìwò yẹ́yẹ̀yẹ́, Màrìwò yẹ́yẹ̀yẹ́ Ògún aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Ẹni mo bọ́ ní mo bọ́, ẹni mo bọ́ ní mo bọ́ Ògún aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Òjòjò ní ṣowú o, òjòjò ní ṣowú Ògún aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún o, òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún Ògún aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Màrìwò yẹ́yẹ̀yẹ́, Màrìwò yẹ́yẹ̀yẹ́ Ògún aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Ẹni mo bọ́ ní mo bọ́, ẹni mo bọ́ ní mo bọ́ Ògún aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Òjòjò ní ṣowú o, òjòjò ní ṣowú Ògún aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. Òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún o, òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún o, òjòjò ní ṣ'Ògún Ògún aṣọ alágbẹ̀dẹ òkè. So that's it for the translation and breakdown of the song. If you have any questions regarding the lyrics, or you feel that there's something I haven't explained well enough, please don't hesitate to let me know. Feel free to ask questions or leave comments, or if you have any corrections as well, please let me know. I tried my best to try to get the original forms of the words, but if you feel that it's not quite that, it's this, don't hesitate to let me know. And thank you to my patrons and my YouTube members, and I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your day, and bye for now.
Màrìwò sára Ògún yagbá yòbò, ọ̀rọ̀ Ògún lè wọ̀, ọ̀rọ̀ Ògún ṣòro. Tẹ́ ẹ bá ti gúnyán, ẹ fi tògún sílẹ̀. Tẹ́ ẹ bá roka, ẹ fi tògún lẹ̀. Torí pé tẹ́ ẹ bá ṣe èwo, ẹ fi tògún sílẹ̀. Torí pé Ògún ló kọṣu, Ògún ló roko, Ògún ló pàjùbà, Ògún ló kọbè mọ́ṣu, kíṣu fi jiná wọ́ọ́rọ́wọ́ Ògún o. Onírè ọkọ mi lákàyè ẹ̀jẹ̀ mọ̀ kókó dòtí rú mìnìmìnì. Aláìmọ̀kànmọ̀kàn ní sọ pé bí Ògún bá gbalẹ́gbodò àwọn sì ìgboko lọ. Wọ́n ti gbàgbé pé ìsàtọ́gbalẹ́gbodò lè gboko lọ́wọ́ ẹni. Ògún ò ní fẹ́ràn wa yílẹ̀ ẹlẹ̀ gbogbo ẹlẹ́gbẹ́ ọ̀dẹ. Tá a bá ràjò àmórídénú ilé, ọmọ inú odi kì í kú sẹ́yìn odi. Ògún lákàyè ọ̀sìn mọ́lẹ̀, wọ́n fẹ́ràn wa yílẹ̀ ẹlẹ̀. Ògún jẹ́ ìyó, Ògún jẹ́ ìyó, Ògún jẹ́ ìyó, Ògún jẹ́ ìyó, ebi owó.